Welcome to my bold and beautiful Today's Show channel. I hope today fantastic for everyone. Please hit the subscribes button and give this video thumbs up. Hope's final wedding to Liam, Tumor changes everything? The bold and the beautiful imply that Hope Logan might be gearing up for a final wedding to Liam Spencer. Will Hope want to remarry after Liam's brain tumor changes everything? Steffy Forrester has been taking a stroll down memory lane now that she knows what Liam is confronting. If Steffy weren't married to John Finnegan, she'd probably be getting back together with Liam right now. Since a Liam reunion isn't really an option for Steffy, could it be an option for Hope? It might be significant that Hope is dragging her feet on reconnecting with Carter Walton. Perhaps that's because Hope's emotions for Liam are going to come rushing back once she realizes he's on the verge of a grim fate. Deacon Sharp has been rooting for a Hope and Liam reunion, so that may be a clue about what's forthcoming too. If Liam is really going to confront his demise, then the show will want to pull out all the stops and tug at viewers' heartstrings. What better way to do that than with one last Lope tearjerker ceremony for Hope and Liam? Hope will find out about Liam's inoperable mass later during the week of May 5th to 9th, so that's going to leave her rattled. It should become difficult for Hope to focus on moving forward with Carter when Liam's fading away. As Hope thinks back on her regrets, she might conclude she wants to fix her family with Liam. Maybe Hope will push for a remarriage ceremony and assert she wants to be Liam's wife for however long he has left. It might take some convincing to get Liam on board, but he might eventually accept that he desires the same thing. Hope and Liam could join together for some emotional scenes as they make one final commitment to each other, even if their next chapter won't last long. Of course, B&B could conceivably throw in a twist if Liam miraculously survives somehow. That could complicate things if Hope only re-enters marriage with Liam believing that time is running out. Whatever the case, Hope isn't certain about reuniting with Carter at this point, so the door's still open for her to reunite with Liam instead. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Hope will make some updates to her perspective along with some fresh predictions about her future, so remain tuned for any wedding news that might be brewing. Liam's grim reality, Steffy's emotional struggle and more. The bold and the beautiful are here. In tomorrow's episode, Liam Spencer confronts the grim reality of his prognosis. Meanwhile, Steffy Forrester Finnegan struggles with her impending loss. Keep reading and let's discuss about what is coming up in the next episode of the CBS soap opera. Liam Spencer's fate. Liam has just discovered that he has an inoperable brain tumor. What's more is that physicians can even tell Liam how long he has. It's anyone's guess with this tumor, but John Finnegan did mention they could attempt to slow its growth. Only a tiny handful of people know about Liam's brain tumor. Liam insists on keeping his condition a secret. However, Steffy is right that Hope Logan and others need to know the truth, particularly since there are young children involved. Read more. Find out what occurred on the last episode of B&B. Steffy Forrester Finnegan's urging. Steffy has been attempting to push Liam to tell Hope the truth. Shin left the house to give Liam and Hope some time alone to speak. However, after Hope left, Liam admitted to Steffy that he couldn't force himself to tell her about the brain tumor. Read this. The latest B&B comings and goings. Despite the bad blood and volatile history between the women, Steffy feels that Hope deserves to know. Grim reality check. In tomorrow's episode, Steam will reflect about all the memories and adventures they've shared together. Fans saw a tiny slice of this in today's episode. Liam and Steffy might ponder about all the moments that he will miss. The kids' proms, boyfriends, college, first real employment, and all those other moments could be brought up. Liam might insist on making the time he has left truly count, particularly when it comes to the girls. Forgiveness plea. It is also hinted that Liam will have a request before he dies. For Liam, Hope and Steffy finding forgiveness is really essential. Liam already issued an impassioned plea to Hope. Now Liam is conversing about forgiveness with Steffy. While the two women will band together in light of Liam's illness, can a truce really last? Fans might also see what Liam intends to do about his other loved ones. Sure, Liam isn't talking to Bill Spencer. However, there are others, such as Liam's brother Wyatt Spencer. While Liam is spending more quality time with Kelly Spencer, what about Beth Spencer? Liam's last wish, Carter's promise, Brooke rejected. The bold and the beautiful is officially here. In today's episode, Liam Spencer desires peace between the two women in his life. Plus, Carter Walton promises to wait for Hope Logan. Liam Spencer's reasoning. Liam and Steffi Forrester Finnegan continue chatting at the Cliff residence. Steffi feels like they need to be doing more for him medically. They haven't discovered a specialist who is willing to take on his case yet. Liam claims he's not dead yet and he can still do quite a lot. But at the end of the day, he just wants everyone to be pleased. Liam explains it's why he is pushing Hope back with Carter. Liam has a toothache. As they debate about harder, Liam finally says happiness is the objective. Steffi knows how much Hope means to him. Hope deserves to know about his condition. Read more. Find out what occurred on the last episode of B&B. Liam fears that if Hope finds out, then so will Beth Spencer. If it were feasible, he would have kept it from Steffi too. The brunette says their infant needs to be prepared. Liam bluntly refuses. He's doing this on his terms. Oh my, he sounds just like Eric Forrester. Liam desires peace between Hope and Steffi. He has to undo the devastation he did. Steffi says the dispute is more than just about him. They speak about their unforgettable adventures. Read this. The latest B&B comings and goings. Carter Walton's promise. At Brooke Logan's home, Carter asks Hope to reunite. They can just focus on affection and leave out all that business stuff. Hope isn't convinced she can believe him. Carter wishes to fix things. The blonde replies that he let her go. The COO desires a chance to rebuild their future together. The fashion designer misses him, but it's not that uncomplicated. Hope isn't certain she can trust Carter again, although she does acknowledge he's a good man. Carter continues pleading. Hope needs to be confident and isn't sure how to get there. Carter promises to give her time. He will never harm her again. Read this. General Hospital Drew threatens to kill Nina when Willow tells him that Nina drugged him. Brooke Logan rejected again. At Forrester Creations, Brooke informs Rich Forrester that they are destiny. Brooke keeps imploring, but Rich says he's with Taylor Hayes now. Rich doesn't want to harm either of them, so he asks for a topic change. Brooke tells him it's time to come home while caressing him. Rich pushes her away, then says he's devoted to Taylor and she makes him happy. Rich won't break his vow to Taylor. Brooke reasons that if he were genuinely committed to Taylor, then he wouldn't feel this way about her. Rich replies that the contrary is true. Will Steffi tell Hope the truth? Important conversations are being had in this week's The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Luna pleads with Finn, Daphne turns up the heat with Carter, and Steffi is frantic to tell Hope the truth about Liam. Will she obey Liam's wishes or disclose his terminal condition? Finn's world was turned upside down when he learned that Luna is his daughter. And given that her recent offenses included drugging and kidnapping Steffi with the intention of killing her, Finn couldn't exactly welcome his newfound child into his family. But Luna is determined to get to know her dad, no matter what. I know what a great guy you are, she insists, and you wouldn't turn your back on your own kid. Can she convince Finn to defy Steffi's wishes? Carter believes he's making progress with Hope and repairing their fractured relationship, but Daphne has other plans in mind. She may have been brought to Forrester with the express purpose of seducing Carter away from Hope so that the family could regain control of their company, but along the way, she actually fell for the heartthrob. Move on from Hope, Daphne suggests, moving in close to Carter. Start fresh with the woman standing right in front of you. Can he be tempted? Hope has her own problems as Steffi pays her a visit, and it's very apparent that there's something important going on. What do you want to talk about? The blonde asks, concerned. Tears in her eyes, Steffi confesses. It's about Liam. Already concerned that there's something going on with her ex-husband after their most recent conversation, Hope grows more agitated. What about Liam? She presses. Liam made it plain that he didn't want anyone else knowing about his fatal brain tumor. But Steffi believes Hope should be told. Will she go behind Liam's back and reveal the truth herself? Hope's final wedding to Liam. Tumor changes everything? The Bold and the Beautiful has always thrived on dramatic twists, emotional reunions and heartbreaking farewells, and the latest spoilers suggest that Hope Logan and Liam Spencer may be bound for one final tear-jerking reunion this time, under the shadow of a devastating medical diagnosis. With Liam's inoperable brain tumor casting a grim shadow over his future, Hope may find herself reevaluating her choices, leading to a poignant last wedding that could alter everything. For years, Fans of the bold and the beautiful have witnessed the turbulent love triangle between Hope, Liam, and Steffi Forrester Finnegan. Despite multiple marriages, betrayals, and reconciliations, the bond between Hope and Liam has never entirely dissolved. Now, with Liam facing a terminal illness, the show appears to be setting the stage for an emotive final chapter for Lope. The question is, will Hope choose to remarry Liam, knowing their time together is limited? Steffi's emotional struggle and Hope's lingering feelings. Steffi, who has always been a pivotal figure in Liam's life, is grappling with the reality of his impending loss. Though she is blissfully married to Finn, her history with Liam runs deep, and seeing him deteriorate is breaking her heart. If she weren't devoted to Finn, she might have been the one rushing to Liam's side. But since that's not an option, Steffi is now urging Liam to tell Hope the truth, believing that Hope deserves to know, particularly for the sake of their daughter, Beth. Hope, meanwhile, has been hesitant to completely commit to Carter Walton, despite his persistent efforts to rekindle their relationship. Her reluctance may not just be about trust issues, it could be a sign that her emotion still belongs to Liam. Once she learns about his diagnosis, buried feelings may resurface, making it impossible for her to disregard the pull toward him. A wedding born from tragedy. If Liam's condition worsens, Hope could be confronted with an agonizing choice. Should she move forward with Carter, or should she honor the love she once shared with Liam by giving him one last happy memory? The idea of a final wedding is heartbreaking yet poetic, an opportunity for them to reaffirm their love before time runs out. Liam, ever the self-sacrificing romantic, might initially resist, not wanting Hope to bind herself to him out of pity. But if Hope persists, declaring that she wants to be his wife for whatever time he has left, it could lead to some of the most emotional scenes in B&B history. A wedding under these circumstances wouldn't just be about romance. It would be about closure, forgiveness, and making every remaining moment count. Could there be a twist? Of course, soap operas adore a good twist. What if Liam's diagnosis isn't as dire as it seems? What if an experimental treatment or last-minute medical breakthrough gives him a second chance? If that occurs, Hope's decision to remarry him, originally made under the assumption that he was dying, could lead to new complications. Would she remain with him out of obligation, or would she realize that her love for him never truly faded? Alternatively, if Liam's destiny is sealed, the show could deliver a devastating yet beautiful send-off, with Hope and Liam exchanging vows surrounded by their loved ones, only for tragedy to strike shortly after. The emotional weight of such a storyline would be immense, leaving fans in tears while reinforcing the enduring, if complicated, love between these two characters. Broader implications for the show. Beyond Hope and Liam, this storyline could reverberate through other relationships. Steffi and Hope, who have been bitter rivals for years, might eventually find common ground in their shared grief. Carter, though heartbroken, may step aside out of reverence for Hope's choice. And Brooke, always Hope's fiercest supporter, could play a critical role in encouraging her daughter to follow her heart, even if it leads her back to Liam one last time. The gentle golden hues of a Los Angeles afternoon streamed through the Forrester estate windows, but the light did little to soften the hearts of the tangled, tormented souls caught in the devastating whirlwind that Liam Spencer's grim prognosis had become. A silent tempest had been brewing beneath the polished veneer of designer gowns and business deals at Forrester Creations, and now that storm had a name: inoperable brain tumor. It was the phrase that shattered everything, the invisible time bomb in Liam's mind ticking louder with each passing scene, each tremor of pain, each moment stolen from a future he may never see. And in the midst of this somber revelation, another kind of tempest took shape, one made not of disease or science, but of love, legacy, and unspoken longing. Hope Logan stood at the edge of a decision that could redefine her fate: to marry Liam one last time, to transform tragedy into testament, and to declare her love not for the man he used to be, but the man he is now: broken, brave, and running out of time. The signs were all there. Hope had been dancing at the edge of indecision ever since Carter Walton, handsome, steady, and loyal, offered her a second opportunity at happiness, a path away from Spencer drama and romantic disillusionment. But Hope's heart was a map marked with Liam's name at every turn, every choice, every agony. And now, with Liam's secret looming, Hope's hesitation to accept Carter's offer seemed less about distrust and more about unresolved emotional business. Even Deacon Sharp, always blunt with his observations and fatherly in his awkward, endearing way, had voiced his optimism for a Lope reunion. Perhaps Deacon sensed what Hope had not yet acknowledged to herself, that her soul still resonated with Liam's. And what could force clarity quicker than the sudden knowledge that time with him was running out? Hope's world began to tremble the moment Steffi Forrester, tear-brimmed and guilt-laden, stepped into her office with a heavy heart and a secret she couldn't stand to keep. "It's about Liam," she whispered, and though the words hadn't yet left her lips, Hope felt them reverberate through her chest like an earthquake. This wasn't about possession or co-parenting or another romantic triangle. This was life and death. Liam hadn't been able to tell her himself. His pride, his dread, his protectiveness had all kept him silent. But Steffi, standing erect in her truth and compassion, couldn't hold back anymore. She defied Liam's wishes not out of malice, but because she understood the unbearable burden of ignorance, especially when a child's future, too, in fact, was in the balance. Hope's reaction was visceral. Her knees collapsed under the weight of the news. Liam, the man she had loved, loathed, forgiven, and dreamed beside, was dying. An inoperable tumor. No timeline. Just a slow, cruel disintegration. Suddenly, her entire past with him came rushing back. Their wedding in Italy, Beth's miraculous return, the weeping, the reunions, the betrayals. And now the possibility of a final chapter. But would it be one of regret or redemption? The days that followed the revelation were a haze for Hope. Carter's gentle, optimistic advances became background noise. Brooke's incessant insistence about destiny with Ridge rang hollow in the air. Even her own mother's heartache couldn't eclipse the storm Hope was confronting. Every thought she had, every breath was about Liam. Could she look her daughter Beth in the eye knowing she'd let her father fade away without dignity, without love? Could she sleep at night knowing the man she once pledged to cherish was suffering alone? Hope didn't need much time to decide because love like hers doesn't expire. It just waits. And it had been waiting for this moment, devastating though it was. When she arrived at Liam's beach house unannounced, he knew. He could see it in her eyes. Not pity, not terror, but something purer. "I know," she said, the silence between them louder than any tempest. "I know what you've been hiding." And then the tears came, not from Liam who had been numb for days but from Hope who felt it all at once. The loss, the wasted time, the love she had buried under pride and agony. Liam tried to object, tried to play the martyr, insisting she move on, be happy with Carter, establish a new life. But Hope wouldn't hear it. "I've already had a life with you," she whispered. "And if there's only a little more of it left, I want to live it as your wife." Thus the notion was born, one last wedding, not for spectacle or ratings but for closure, healing, and peace. A final walk down the aisle, not as an escape but as a destination. Hope envisioned something intimate, something true. Beth and Kelly as flower attendants. Wyatt standing beside Liam. Deacon escorting her down the aisle. Maybe even a truce between Brooke and Taylor, if only for the day. It wasn't about fairy tales, it was about memories. For Liam the decision wasn't simple. He dreaded binding Hope to a future that would end in sorrow. He didn't want her to observe him wither. But as the days passed and as his body betrayed him in small, cruel ways, headaches, missteps, forgetfulness, he came to see what Hope already knew. Love isn't about longevity, it's about presence. And she was choosing to be present not because she was trapped, but because she was free to adore him anyway. Meanwhile, Steffi struggled in her own emotional limbo. Watching Liam and Hope grow close again stirred echoes of her own sentiments. Had she not been married to Finn, had she not fought so hard to preserve her family, would she have made the same choice? Would she have wedded Liam one last time? But Finn was her anchor, and their marriage had weathered cyclones too brutal to forget. So she supported the union from a distance, holding Kelly close, promising to make the most of the time they had left with her father. Carter, though devastated, proved his mettle. He made a vow of his own, not to oppose Hope's decision but to wait in case the story wasn't over. Daphne, ever the vulture in silk, saw an opening and attacked. Her seduction of Carter wasn't just about corporate espionage anymore. It was real. She craved him. But Carter, still loyal to his emotions, resisted for now. Across town, Ridge was fending off another emotional ambush from Brooke, who had convinced herself yet again that their so-called destiny could be revived. But Ridge, perhaps jaded or perhaps genuinely committed to Taylor for the first time in years, turned her down flat. He refused to repeat the carousel of sorrow. Brooke, devastated, still managed to attend Hope's upcoming wedding, though her tears were less about the ceremony and more about her own shattered aspirations. As Hope and Liam prepared to say "I do" once more, the entire Forrester and Spencer clan seemed to halt, holding their breath. Eric, recovering from his own near-death fright months ago, understood better than anyone what it meant to cherish borrowed time. Donna grasped his hand tighter than ever. Even Bill Spencer, estranged from Liam but not devoid of emotion, stood at the rear of the venue, sunglasses hiding his shame and sorrow. Wyatt hugged his brother longer than usual that morning, whispering, "You've always been the best of us." And Beth, dressed in a pale yellow gown, beamed up at her parents, too young to comprehend the gravity of it all, but wise enough to sense the love. The ceremony took place on the shore, waves crashing like applause in the distance. Hope's attire was simple but radiant. Liam, slightly leaner, paler than usual, still managed to smile as she walked toward him. The vows were custom-written, raw and gorgeous. "I don't know how much time we have," Hope said, voice quivering, "but I know that every second of it I want to be yours." Liam took her hand. "You always were," he replied. Tears fell. Even Ridge wept, his stoicism cracked by the sight of his daughter's suffering and the courage of a man confronting the end. As the sun set, casting an orange glow over the ocean, Hope and Liam kissed, not like a commencement, but like a goodbye disguised as forever. But just as the story seemed to solidify into tragedy, Bold and the Beautiful did what it does best. Dangled hope in front of sorrow. A phone call. A murmur. A dossier delivered to Finn by a neurologist in Zurich. A clinical trial. Opportunity. Just as Hope and Liam settled into a bittersweet honeymoon phase, replete with scrapbooks, lullabies, and late-night laughter, Finn arrived at their door with cautious optimism. "There's a doctor who thinks it might not be what we thought," he said. "It could be operable. Or treatable. We don't know yet, but there's a shot." And suddenly everything changed again. Was this ceremony Hope's final chapter with Liam? Or the beginning of a new book? If Liam survived, what then? Would Hope remain out of love or duty? Would Carter wait forever? Would Steffi, observing from afar, wonder if fate had cheated her out of a second chance? And would Liam, once spared, be the same man he was before?